My name is Isabella Voss, and on my 18th birthday, I did something that would completely destroy the control my family thought they had over me forever. I had been planning this moment for years. My grandfather passed away when I was 14. Before he died, he called me into his study one evening and made me sit in front of him. He looked at me seriously and said, "Isabella, when you turn 18, a large sum of money will come to you. But the moment that money becomes yours, your father and stepmother will try to take it from you. They will try to control you through it. Don't be naive. Protect yourself while you still can." Those words stayed with me. I never forgot them. After my real mother died when I was 10, my father remarried a woman named Victoria. She already had a daughter from her previous marriage named Sophia, who was 2 years younger than me. From the very beginning, it was clear who the favorite was. Sophia was treated like a princess. She got new clothes, expensive gifts, vacations, and constant praise. I was mostly ignored or criticized. My father and Victoria made it obvious that Sophia was the daughter they wanted, while I was just someone they had to tolerate. I was the quiet one. I studied hard, stayed out of trouble, and tried to be as invisible as possible. But no matter what I did, I was always compared to Sophia and found lacking. My father would often say things like, "Why can't you be more like your sister?" While Victoria would simply look at me with disappointment. When I turned 16, my grandfather's lawyer contacted me privately and informed me about the inheritance. It was a multi-million-dollar sum that would be transferred to me on my 18th birthday. I was shocked. I had no idea my grandfather had left me so much. That was the moment I started planning. I knew that the second that money came into my name, my father and Victoria would try to take control of it. They had already started making subtle comments about family investments and how we should all decide together what to do with the money. I also knew that if I didn't act fast, they would pressure me emotionally and legally until I gave in. So, 2 months before my 18th birthday, I hired a lawyer, someone my grandfather had recommended years ago. Together, we created a private trust. I moved the entire inheritance into that trust. I made sure that only I had full signing authority. My father, Victoria, and even Sophia could not touch a single cent without my permission. It was my safety net, just like my grandfather had warned me to create. Is there anyone in your life that you wish you could get revenge on? Tell me in the comments who that person is and what they did. I'd really like to know your story. And please don't forget to like and subscribe so I can continue bringing you these stories. Your support helps me keep creating and sharing new content for you. On the evening of my 18th birthday, we had a big dinner at home. My father, Victoria, and Sophia were all present. The table was beautifully decorated, there was a large cake, and everyone was smiling. But I could feel the underlying tension. They were all waiting for the same thing, the money. After we cut the cake and sang happy birthday, my father raised his glass and said with a big smile, "Now that you're officially 18, Isabella, we should sit down tomorrow and discuss how we're going to manage your inheritance. It's a lot of money, and you're still young. We'll help you handle it properly so it grows for the family." Victoria smiled and added, "Yes, sweetheart, we're family. We should keep the money within the family and make smart decisions together. You don't have to worry about anything." Sophia smirked from across the table and said, "Yeah, we can all benefit from it. It's not like you need that much money." Anyway, I simply smiled back and replied, "We'll talk about it tomorrow." I didn't tell them that I had already moved the entire inheritance into a private trust that same morning. I didn't tell them that they no longer had any access to it. I just smiled, ate my cake, and went to my room early. The next morning, everything changed. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of loud voices coming from downstairs. It was barely 8:30 a.m., but my father, Victoria, and Sophia were already arguing in the living room. I didn't need to hear the words to know what they were fighting about. I took my time getting ready. I showered, got dressed, and even had a cup of coffee in my room before going downstairs. When I finally entered the living room, all three of them turned to look at me at the same time. My father's face was red with anger. Victoria looked like she was barely controlling her rage. And Sophia was staring at me with a mix of shock and irritation. "Isabella," my father said sharply, "sit down. We need to talk. Right now." I calmly walked over and sat on the single sofa across from them. I didn't say anything. I just waited. My father leaned forward and said, "We just got off the phone with the bank and the lawyer. They told us that the inheritance has already been moved into a private trust, a trust that only you control. What the hell did you do?" I looked at him and replied in a steady voice, "I moved it into a trust, just like Grandpa told me to." Victoria slammed her hand on the table. "Are you out of your mind?" she snapped. "That money belongs to this family. You had no right to do something like this without telling us." I looked at her and said, "That money was left to me by Grandpa, not to this family. And after the way all of you have treated me for years, I decided it was better to keep it safe." Sophia let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, please, Isabella, stop acting like some kind of victim. You've always been dramatic and selfish. Just transfer the money back so we can manage it properly like a normal family." I turned to look at my sister. "Manage it properly?" I asked. "Like how you and Mom spent the money Grandpa left from my college education without even asking me? Or like how Dad tried to pressure me into giving you money for your business idea last year?" Sophia's face turned red. She clearly didn't expect me to bring that up. My father's expression hardened. "Isabella, you're still young. You don't understand these things. That kind of money needs to be handled by someone mature. We're your family. We have the right to decide what happens to it." I looked at him and replied, "No, Dad, you don't. That money is mine, and I've already made sure that none of you can touch it without my permission. The trust is airtight. Even if something happens to me, the money won't go to any of you." Victoria stood up angrily. "You ungrateful little brat. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? We raised you. We gave you a roof over your head." I looked at her coldly. "You didn't raise me. You tolerated me. And you only tolerated me because you thought one day you would get your hands on Grandpa's money. Now that you can't, you're showing your real face." My father's face turned completely red. "If you don't transfer that money back into a joint account by tomorrow, you will regret it," he said in a threatening voice. "I will make sure you don't get a single cent from this family ever again. You'll be completely on your own." I stood up slowly and looked at all three of them. "You already made sure of that years ago," I said. "I'm just returning the favor." I turned around and started walking toward the stairs. My father shouted from behind, "Isabella, if you walk away right now, don't ever come back to this house again." I stopped for a second, but didn't turn around. "I wasn't planning to," I replied quietly, then continued walking up the stairs. That same afternoon, I packed my bags and moved out of their house. I had already arranged a small apartment for myself weeks ago, just in case things went wrong. I didn't take much with me, just my clothes, important documents, and a few personal belongings. Over the next few days, my parents tried everything to make me change my mind. My mother called me crying, saying that I was destroying the family. My father tried to guilt-trip me by saying that Grandpa would be disappointed in me. Sophia even came to my new apartment one evening and tried to emotionally manipulate me. But I didn't budge. I had spent years being treated like I didn't matter. I had stayed quiet, followed their rules, and tried to earn their love. In return, they tried to take the only thing my grandfather had left me. I was done. 2 weeks after my birthday, I started using a portion of the trust money for my future. I paid for my university education in full and invested some of it carefully. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was finally in control of my own future. My parents and Sophia eventually stopped trying to contact me. Instead, they started bad-mouthing me to relatives and family friends, telling everyone that I had stolen the family money and cut them off. But I didn't care anymore. I had finally broken free.